My strength is my personality. I'm the guy that keeps the boat alive.
We're just in practice mode right now for the midwinter event at St. Pete's.
The fun thing about getting in is it's always a controlled fall, you know. Going down's the easy part, getting up is the hard part.
My name's Dave Trude. I'm sailing 2.4 meter.
Well, the boats are pretty much set up so everything is you do with your upper body. They have foot steering if you can use your feet, but the only time it really gives you an advantage is at the mark roundings.
The 2.4 was made as an able-bodied person boat, and about 12 years ago, a bunch of disabled guys in Sweden started sailing it. And they started doing really well, and people realized that this boat, you can use it if you're able-bodied or disabled. It levels the playing field because you can take the foot controls, and you can put in a hand steering joystick. And if you have other disabilities that might limit you, you can change the cockpit design however you want.
I was born with one arm. I got into disabled sailing a year ago at this regatta. I just, after the hurricane, there weren't really any boats in New Orleans to sail. So I just found this on the internet and emailed one of the 2.4 guys and chartered a boat and just came to sail with my dad and just had a blast.
I wanted to go back doing something that I could do with my friends. I don't play wheelchair basketball and I don't do the road racing. I was a little too old to start. And my friends were sailors. I grew up sailing.
Being disabled is not something we chose to do. We became disabled. A lot of us were sailors before, and sailing is a form of recreation, but it's a form of competition for us that we can go out and we can show how good we are regardless of our disabilities.
I don't think that translates any differently for a person with a disability than it does for an able-bodied person. I think sports are about getting out and being with people who are like-minded. It's about the thrill of competition. Winning is great, but a bad day on the water is better than a good day at work anytime.
The Scud guys, they bring box loads of tools to repair the boats every time they come in, eh? I mean, you watch him, he's got bags of tools, fasteners. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning, they start their shift.
I think they're going to make a Scud utility belt.
One of the backup devices we have on this is that we can take this pin out and lock the seat in the center position, but we lose the ability to tilt the seat when they're sailing, which is a major handicap, so it's a bummer. For this regatta, we're stuck with it.
When we first got the boat, we were sitting center line, so he's looking at the back of my head the whole time. We're both facing the mast. So we went and had seats made that would gimbal to the high side. So when we're heeling over, we can get our weight up on the high side, and it's made the boat more comfortable. We want to try to sail the boat as flat as possible. So getting that weight up on the high side keeps the boat flatter. So that's one of the huge adjustments that we made.
The Scud is a fantastic boat. It really allows someone who's disabled to get into performance sailing. And you sail it one time downwind and you're hooked. You're just downwind, you're saying to yourself, what did I get myself into? What am I doing? What if this boat pitch poles? Or, of course they say it can't happen, but they said that about the last boat I was in. And we pushed it to its edges and found out that it can do things that the designers think it can't. And what do you do in a situation when you're stuck in the boat strapped in, sometimes duct taped if you're fed up with your harness system? The first time I was scared shitless because you can't get out of the boat.
Okay, now you guys ready?
Can I strap in?
Ease it, big time. Ease it, big time. Okay, Brendan, let's get in our boat and we'll try and get it.
The Scud, very, very tough boat to sail. The crew has a lot of lines to pull and a lot of work to do.
How's the crew work?
Yeah.
Oh, I do all the work. What do you mean, how's the crew work? I do everything.
You're constantly sheeting, just constantly sheeting, never stop. So the arms are going the whole time.
The newest of the Paralympic classes is the Scud 18. It's the only class with a spinnaker and requires one sailor to have a severe disability, kind of on the level of a quadriplegic.
Both people have to have a disability, whatever that may be, but one person has to be a woman. And that's done wonders, because there's some women sailors on those Scuds, the two-person boats. Look out, they're barn burners.
I was injured in 1990. I was on a bicycle. I was an amateur triathlete, and I was on a bicycle and I was out training and I got hit by a car. I'm lucky to be alive. I had a helmet on, which is why I'm alive. Sailing was not something I really wanted to do, and then I found it, and I realized that it doesn't matter what your disability is. I think it focuses a lot on ability, because sailing involves so much more than just physical strength. It's a very mental game. It's strategy, it's wind, it's current. You know, when you sail, you leave your disability on the dock. You know, there's no cooler sight, in my mind, than a dock full of empty wheelchairs. And I've always wanted a poster like that and then a sign that says, "Gone sailing."
They're Brazilian redfish, okay?
Oh, they're never serious on the boat. You have to.
Stop!
Awesome.
You're through.
You got any goop?
Got that on tape.
Still working out some of the bugs, but we're getting there.
On the sonar boats, there's a total point system where the disability, like my disability is rated a 6. Based on your disability, you're given a number from 1 to 7, and the points can't be over 14. So what you end up doing is getting some able-bodied guys like me and a 1, like our skipper, Paul Callahan, who's a quadriplegic. So the trick is to get him to function on the boat. So you're making adaptive equipment for him.
He sits on this in his chair and goes like this, crank the tiller that way or back the other way. We've worked real hard to make this smooth and tight.
The best part about this adaptive sailing is that these boats are made to fit the particular disability that everybody has. But you can see the benches that they have.
Pilates mats, actually. And they're good because when you're healing, you don't slide down.
When I was designing the sonar, a very good friend of ours, the son of a good friend of ours, was injured in a traffic accident. And strangely enough, while I was doing the boat, I thought, boy, John could probably sail this boat, even with his disability. And sure enough, a couple of years later, the disabled sailor started using the sonar. And that's been a great thrill to me, frankly.
Doing a little bit of training?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. And, you know, we'll be able to do some more stuff.
I'm Lieutenant John Pachillo. I'm with the U.S. Navy. I was hit in Iraq, and when I got evac'd out to Walter Reed, I did my rehab there, and the Wounded Warrior Project was helping out a USDS sailing team to get a third member for this crew right here. And I came down one Saturday in February to try out, and you know, it worked out, and they liked what I could do on the boat. I had some prior experience, not much, but enough to come in late in the game.
I'm very excited, really happy that you're doing this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Okay, getting ready to fired up to go out, get my coach boat organized. We're gonna run some race drills for the Scuds this morning. I think the Canadians are gonna jump in with us, which will be awesome. We're borrowing some equipment here at St. Pete Yacht Club and trying to get in a last practice session before registration happens and everybody pulls their boats out for their final prep before racing. In this group of disabled sailors, we have every type of physical disability imaginable. We have quadriplegics, paraplegics, upper extremity amputees, leg amputees. The challenges that these guys have had to overcome just to get out on the water in their personal lives is so tremendous. You guys have gotten very good there. The takedown, much better, even coming in at that hot angle. Just that ability to give Julia boat length dead downwind, gets that kite in, and then your turn is perfect.
Betsy's just a phenomenal coach. And she's very short to the point, and I like that in tennis as well. She doesn't fill your head with a bunch of stuff. She just comes up and says, you know, you need to do this, 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 and you do it, and it works. And so she's great. We've learned so much from her.
5-time Rolex yachtswoman and multiple championships, and the fact that she's here to impart her knowledge on people that society kind of has a tendency to write off is really neat.
You know, the practice pays off.
She's gotten a lot of us into sailing. She's been one of those friends that motivate and get you out in the boat doing it. You have bad days, she lifts you up. You have good days, she tells you what you did wrong.
With Betsy, we're not disabled. We're sailors who happen to have something above and beyond that. But we're sailors first. She is not an easy person to please by any stretch of the imagination. But that's what every single one of us need. Because we can't be complacent.
I find the disabled guys work harder than the able-bodied guys.
Day of the races, it's time to act.
When I started coaching sailors with disabilities, physical disabilities, the important thing to know is what their physical parameters are and to work with the adaptations that they need so that they can perform just as you and I, as if they're able-bodied. And we don't coach them any differently than we would coach able-bodied sailors. The tactics, the strategy, it's all the same. Just some of the adjustments and some of the controls may be set up slightly different to make accommodations for the physical disability. And other than that, it's game on.
Being out on the water, it really it makes kind of everyone equal.
It built my confidence once I start sailing.
To get out of your wheelchair and leave it behind is great because then you have that freedom and you just let the wind take you wherever the water is. And there's no pushing or no shoulder problems or curves or stairs. You're just out there pulling the sheets and it's a wonderful thing.
I can't walk down the beach. I can't get to the water's edge, but I can get in a boat and go sailing on the water by myself.
Sailors make comments to you about, like, you know, why are you in those seats? And you just kind of sail, and they're just asking questions, and that's fine. And you're like, because I can't walk. And they're like, ha 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 ha.
The level of competition, it keeps rising. We've got probably 3 or 4 previous Olympians and world champions on the U.S. team.
I've had the good fortune of representing us, the United States, in 2000 in Sydney, Australia, and it was so darn much fun, I want to go try to do it again.
day was very disappointing in the first race. I misjudged the amount we would accelerate with a boat length or two to go, with 12, 14 seconds to go. And we, instead of being right in the front row with free air, we were in the second row eating gas.
We're kind of at the midpoint of our training, and you know, we're certainly doing better on our mutual respect for each other. I mean, before we would tell each other to shove it up our ass, you know, but today we didn't do that. You know, we had our couple of moments, but we've got a long way to go if we're going to be Olympic competitive. 22 years ago, my ex-wife told me in the morning on April 27, 1985, that she was pregnant with my now 21-year-old daughter. And in the afternoon, I went out to tell my brother he was going to be an uncle on my 10-speed bike. Coming home he lived up the hill and I lived at the bottom of the hill, and I never got to the bottom of the hill. A young girl at the intersection where my house was and was waiting to make a left, and she made a left right on me. I didn't see her. I was looking down, I looked up, and she was on me. And then when I woke up, they said, this is wrong, that's wrong, and oh, by the way, you're paralyzed. And so you know, life changes, but you know, it's what you do with those changes who define who you are. And in everybody's life, I tell them constantly when I'm lecturing on traumatic rehab that in a blink of an eye, your life will change. It's what happened after that blink that makes you who you are.
The nicest thing about this day is that we get to at least throw one of these out.
In light wind, we know we're at a deficit because we have not had enough time training in light air, and that hurts us. In heavy air, if this was blowing 15, there wouldn't be anybody staying with us. Depending on when you pick up the pieces of your life for certain things, you know, it doesn't matter when you do it, as long as you do it. And the boat's been an inspirational thing for me. I've never felt happier, and I've just been having a blast doing it.
Every time we tack, every time we jibe, we learn something new about each other or a different way to do something, and it just makes life a little bit easier.
The last start, you know, was the best start of the day, and I thought we were really going to do something, and you know, one little over trim, and this group will just roll over you.
Tomorrow we need
couple firsts.
We need couple firsts. We want to win, so we can win the regatta.
How was it? It was a good day. I sailed with partner Bob here today, and it was the first time we sailed together, and neither one of us had been out in a while, so we had fun.
I was very indecisive on my decision making, so that was the biggest thing I screwed up on.
Picked the wrong side of the course one time?
Yes, went left when everyone else went right, and the wind went right. Dumb. Called it dumb.
You know, to work with these Paralympic sailors, it's a special opportunity. You know, I was a head coach of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team, so I've seen those guys, work with them. But the Paralympic guys have obviously had challenges in life, and it's great to see them, how they work with their challenges and how they overcome those kind of things. So it's a kind of special challenge. I think it's something that's rewarding for me to do.
Some of the coaches that come in to support the sailors on a private basis or on a contract coaching basis are world champions and medalists like Jeff Madrigali, who won an Olympic medal in the Soling class. We've got Bill Mauck, who's an Etchells world champion. Magnus Liljedahl from Miami, who's won 2 gold medals. We've got Gordy Bowers, who's a tremendous sailor out at Minnesota Way and a multiple champion on his own. We've got Marco Dahlberg, who comes in from Finland, who's a 2-time world champion. So the resources out there, able-bodied guys who are supporting our disabled sailors, are phenomenal.
They saw in me something. Magnus saw leadership. You know, Betsy, I think, sees the hard work. You know, I lack the racing experience that a lot of the fine competitors here have this weekend, but experience can be gained. Magnus said to me, "You have the making of a world champion."
Let's go! That's good!
I think one of the areas that gets a little overlooked are the support staff that is required. It is a tremendous effort by a great many people that you don't see day to day out sailing these boats.
Joe's wife helps us get ready because it's hard for us to get up on the bow. She puts the jib on, and then we'll raise the mainsail.
What I do is basically set up the boat as best I can for them before they leave the dock in the morning, and then break it all down when they get back.
I went from tying bowlines to splicing lines and doing glass work on a regular basis.
We couldn't do this without my husband Brian, who is he's our support guy, one and only support guy. Bob and I didn't realize how helpful Brian was going to be until we realized how helpful Brian was going to be and how helpful Brian is, and we could not do this. You can talk to any sailor here. Can't do this without the support.
First things first, out of these 4 sheets here, one is the agenda for the meeting, another describes the coaching protocol for the trials. The other sheet is on the 2007 budget, which was just approved by U.S. Paralympics. Each of the sailors on the U.S. Disabled Sailing Team really only receives about 5% of their annual program budget in direct grants from us. That is exactly the same as what our budget was last year. In comparison to the overall budget that it costs them, each sailor costs them between, I would say, between $50,000 and $100,000 annually to actually compete in a full-blown Paralympic campaign.
Sailing's a huge expense. I mean, sails alone cost a fortune, boats cost a fortune, travel, hotel, everything. With any sport, I mean, you need to have a campaign if you're going to try to make the Olympics, and you need money for that campaign.
You have to take into account all the expenses that really don't have anything to do with sailing, such as hotel expenses, care from personal care attendants. Unless you have friends and family that don't work, you have to hire those people, and it gets extremely expensive. So aside from that, then you consider the boat expenses of delivering the boat where it needs to go.
When you go to the Paralympics, you're sailing against the world, and what you have to do is you have to get your boat to where the world is sailing. Some other sailors, specifically Olympic sailors, can go and they can charter a boat that's brand new out of the box, and it's the way it is. With us, we need the lines to be in the right place. We need the boats to have all the adaptive equipment for our strengths and our weaknesses.
The best part about this program is the people. We all know that we have a disability. Nobody complains about it. There's folks that can barely move, and they're some of the best sailors. And the friendship and the camaraderie is so wonderful. The love that we have for one another. I hate to say that because it sounds so corny, but these folks are just marvelous.
Every day gets better. You're doing a great job out there.
It felt better. It does. The disabled sailing fraternity is one that you wouldn't choose to join, but once you find yourself in it, it's a fantastic fraternity.
To wish you the happiest birthday ever. Perhaps we should have had a meeting about this and then a debrief. That's from my Scud sailors.
It's a big community, you know. When you're able-bodied sailing, it's all us and them, you know. You stick with your country and that's it. But here in the disabled world, you know, we can hang out with each other, we coach each other, we share secrets, you know. Like I'm here coaching the Irish team, they're one of my competitors, but, you know, we're cool with that.
We all got so much in common. We all love to sail. We all, you know, we all have had accidents or injuries or been born with some. When we're out there in the water, it tends to just all disappear, and, you know, we kick back together then as well in the evening, and where it's tough out there and you don't get any quarter off anyone out there, but when we come in, we all sit down, have a beer, and they are a great bunch of guys.
You know what you say, Uncle Bob? Trim the kite harder.
One of the reasons I feel like I drag my 2-year-old along is because I want her exposed to these people. It doesn't matter how you get around. She's obviously going to know that because I use a wheelchair, but I don't want to be the only one she knows in a wheelchair. I want her to understand that the world is a diverse place, and it's a good place. You know, and yeah, we all have our challenges, and she needs to know that. And she's going to see all these people. It's never going to faze her. When she sees somebody walking around on prosthetics, she's going to be like, cool, I love your legs. Or she sees somebody in a wheelchair, it's not going to be like, Mommy, what's that? You know, and I think she's going to always know that there's a real person behind that.
Oh, almost, Team Eagle, almost!
Rigging tape on all knots. What was hard for me after I was first disabled My mind wanted what my body couldn't do, you know? Now I have an opportunity. I'd be stupid to pass it up. Am I going to make the Paralympics? I sure hope so. I'm putting a lot into it.
All my heart is with me in terms of this campaign, and I'm driven and highly motivated to be there and to be representing the U.S., which would be a huge honor.
To be able to get a shot to go to the Olympics in Guangzhou, China, I mean, that's kind of that's a thing that I don't think many people can even fathom.
The excitement that I have every day, just getting on the water, going to a new regatta, seeing some new guys getting out of their chairs and getting into boats. I relive that experience almost every day. I know the battle that I had the first couple of years, but sailing saved my life, truly.
Can you talk about Betsy at all? Can you talk about her?
I really don't want to talk about Betsy.
Okay.
No.
Betsy is really tough. And she has a dog whistle.
And how are you going to be titled?
Besides like Diva. You called me dork last night and I still did the interview. I can't believe I did that.
Diva?
Julia Dorset, and I sail in the Scud 18. Julia Dorset, and I sail the Scud 18. How's that?
Save me from this prison. Lord, help me to get away. 'Cause only you can save me now from this misery.
And our website is www.shakelikemommy.org.
Yes, that's right.
And my phone number is...
Give me this. Get out of here.
I've been locked up way too long in this crazy world. How far is heaven? And I'll just keep on praying, Lord.
It's Pat's dolphin call.
There once was a man from Nave who had a dead in his cave. It gets pretty gross from there.
It's a long boat. It's about 23 feet long, and they call it a sonar.
Right. Hey, Magnus, can you go around the corner with a cell phone? He's trying to shoot some video here.
Tú que estás en altos cielos, échame tu bendición.
I go to LSU, and I'm a student, and
Oh my God. Blooper!
'Cause I know that there's a better place than this place I'm living.
No, 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 go away.
I want to introduce you all.
Go away.
I'm Mr. Bill, but this is Pinky.
Get away.
This is Mr. Pinky.
Get away.
Everybody calls him Meat, but his real name is Pinky.
Oh yeah, the first time I was scared shitless because you can't get out of the boat.
First time I got out, scared shitless. Okay, we got our first bleep, people.
One of our athletes over on the dock there. Johnny, do you have any clothes on? You never know what they're doing down there. It requires one sailor to have, it requires one sailor to have a, I'm trying to think, I'm saying serious, but it's like, you know, the S word? This double-handed class requires one sailor to have a, I will look at you, yeah, I know. You were a little distracting. Okay. Is the camera on? Okay.